There are two main ways to get your passport, and there are a couple of services that you can get to try to speed it up. But everything will come down to when your travel date is. So in this video, we're going to cover that, so let's get started. So there are two main ways to get your passport. The first one is at an acceptance facility, kind of like the US Post Office. So that's the first way that you can get it. And the second way is at a processing center or facility. Now, what determines which way you choose or what method you choose all depends on the urgency of travel and how far away is it. There's a couple of services, so let's get started. Let's start with the first one, which is USPS.com. That's the United States Postal Service.com/passports, and you go ahead and start to make an appointment. You schedule an appointment. You'll be able to see which facility is closest to you that will receive your application, and some of them may even have walk-in services that will display right there on the screen. Most importantly, you want to schedule the appointment so that you'll be able to turn in your application with all required documentations, which I'll cover further down in the video. So that's if you're traveling within 9 and 13 weeks. The next one is still at USPS.com/passports, and that's if you're traveling between 7 and 9 weeks. That's called an expedited service. That's an additional $60. And remember, those 2 weeks plus and minus going and coming back so that you can get your passport. They have a third option within that, which is 2-day mail service returning to you. But that's only after your application has been processed and your passport has been generated. Then they'll mail it out and it'll be a 2-day service. But it'll still be the 7 to 9 weeks or the 9 to 13 weeks. Now, let's say that you're in a hurry and you need to travel within the next 14 days or 28 days if you're getting a visa from another country. You can actually make an appointment by calling the State Department. I'm putting the number here right now. The number is 1-877-487-2778, and it's from the hours of 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Fridays. On Saturdays and Sundays, it's from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you will call there to try and set up and schedule an appointment with the Department of State or an acceptance facility, which they'll process your passport, and it'll be in a facility as close to you as possible. Now, keep in mind, there's no guarantees. I'll give you an example. I live in the Southern California area. I tried to set up an appointment in Los Angeles. There were none available. The closest appointment they were able to give me was San Diego, and that's a couple of 100 miles away. Now, there's only 26 facilities that accept your passports in the nation, so you might want to check, depending on where you live, what will be the closest one in travel time. Also, when you call this number, sometimes depending on the call volume, be prepared to stay online for some time. I've heard anywhere from 10 minutes to a couple of hours. So have your patience ready and make sure that when you call, you have the information. What is it that they will ask you is what date is your trip, and have you purchased your ticket already? It's a good idea to have that already because that will make sure, guarantee that they try to give you that appointment. So remember, this is if you're traveling within the next 14 days or 28 days if you need a visa from another country. Now, the last option of that is, and hope that you don't have to go through this, is called a life or death emergency. With that, it's if you're traveling within the next 3 days, you call that same number, that same 877, the same 81877, the number that's on the screen, and try to set up an appointment due to a life and death emergency on that. Now, let me give you an example. I was reading everything thoroughly here, and they will ask you for proof. Not only will they ask you for your ticket itinerary, but they're going to ask you for proof of either a death certificate from a loved one that has passed away, and it's only immediate relatives. Keep in mind, only immediate relatives, not extended family, no cousins, no uncles, no aunts, and all that. So it's just immediate family, and you have to have either a death certificate or a doctor's note stating that your family member is severely ill or is about to pass. Now, this has to be in English. it doesn't have to be notarized, but it has to be translated. Let me repeat that again. You want to make sure that your family members out there or a doctor or whoever's helping you get the documentation sends it to you in English, or you translate it into English. It doesn't have to be notarized. Just as long as it is in English, they'll be able to accept that. So that's a major portion of this. You want to have that ready. Now let me cover something that nobody covers, or I haven't seen anybody cover on their videos. Let's say that you have that life and death emergency and it's after hours. You can call a specific number that I'm going to share with you right now that most people haven't covered, that you'll be able to call after hours and try and set up an appointment. Same requisites, same information they'll ask you, same documentation required, but they will try to do this after hours. I'm putting this on the screen right now, and as you can see, the number is area code 202-647-4000. That's area code 202-647-4000. Now, this is just after hours. You cannot call this during regular hours like the other number is. If it's within 8 a.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern Standard, you want to call that 877-487-2778 number. If it's after those hours, then you call that 202 number and they'll go ahead and schedule you an appointment within 3 days. Now, there's no guarantee with that as well. They make it very clear on the website that there's no guarantee, but they should be able to help you out with that. So that's an important tip that I wanted you to have, that it took me a while to find. Hopefully you're not in that situation, but if you are, I hope this helps and helps you out in that sense. Good luck with that. Now, the form that you'll be needing, the application form, is Form D as in David, S as in Sam, -11. This is found in the state website, travel website, Department of State travel website, which I'm putting on the screen right now. You can also Google it. You could put Department of State travel /passport. I'm putting the URL here so that you can copy it and go directly to it. Before I forget, that form DS11, you can either print it, download it as a PDF and print it in your home and fill it out, or you can use their form filler and fill everything out and then print it. You don't want to sign it. Don't sign that form either way until an officer asks you at your appointment date when you're getting your passport. That's when you want to sign it. Don't sign it. Just fill everything else out, but don't sign it. Here's the major information you're going to need to get your passport for the first time. You're going to need your social security number. Next, you're going to need proof of citizenship. So that can be your birth certificate. So if you don't have your birth certificate, you can go to your county of the city and state that you were born in and try to get a certified copy or a copy of your birth certificate, and that would help. That will suffice. That will meet that requirement. So it's proof of citizenship. So it'll be your birth certificate, or if you're a naturalized citizen, it'll be your naturalization certificate or citizenship certificate. You can provide that as well. Now, you want to make copies of those. And I know, even though some of these documents say you can't photocopy, they'll accept a photocopy on that, because you don't want to provide the original one and God forbid that gets lost. You just want to have those copies there. They're going to ask you for proof of ID. There's going to have to be an ID that has a photo, so your driver's license or your photo ID, and you got to make sure that you make a copy out of that and provide a copy to them. Remember to provide your travel itinerary or a copy of your ticket of the date of your travel. And also make sure that you provide any documentation if you're doing the life and death emergency required, as stated earlier, like death certificate or the other documents from a doctor or something, or hospice or something like that, that states the urgency that you need to travel. Now, let me share with you some passport photo tips. Let me put up this slide here for you. And last but not least, make sure you have your fees ready. And let me show you here on screen what the fees will be. So for a passport book, that's what it's called, the regular passport is called a passport book, the application fee for that is $130, and also an execution fee of $35. Remember, if you're getting it expedited, it's $60 extra on that. The passport card, it's $30 with execution or acceptance fee of $35. Now, what is a passport card? The passport card is a legal document that allows you to come back into the U.S. coming by land, via land only, from Mexico or Canada. So that's more a little bit of convenience if you're traveling a lot or you're in a border city and you want to go back and forth. I suggest you get that. And then the other option is passport book and the card. So you get both. That's $160 plus a $35 acceptance fee and any other fee if you're doing the expedited service that will come into play in that. If not, it'll be the $160 plus $35. And those are the main fees for your passport, regular passport book, the passport card, or the book and the card together. Now, I was looking at some things, and there's one thing, and hopefully this doesn't apply to you as well. What can prevent you from getting the passport is if you have child support that you owe and it's over $2,500, that automatically disqualifies you from getting a passport. So you may want to resolve that before you actually go and apply and try to get your passport. Hopefully that helps. And if you want to fill out the DS11 form or help filling it out, click on this video right here and I'll show you step by step how to fill it out. So see you there.